but I'll be on it always, always.
Hi, welcome back to the Pink Chemist. So today we will be going over mole fraction. We have two examples. This lesson is fairly easy, so let's hop right into it. Okay, so the first things first, we want to go ahead and identify what our given is. What did the problem give us? And so when we look at the problem, we see that we have 25 grams of H2O as well as 25 grams of ethanol, which is C2H5OH. Okay? And what we want to find is the mole fraction of each substance. Now you want to pay attention here because not each problem isn't going to ask you to find the mole fraction of each substance. Now, if you do that, that's fine. However, you don't want to do more work than what you don't have to do. All right? So I want you to think about it this way. Since we're finding the mole fractions and our given is in grams, we want to immediately go ahead and convert our grams to moles because I'm trying to find the mole fraction. So I'm going to start with my 25 grams of H2O. And then I want to find the mole of H2O. So I'm going to set up my track as such. Again, we've learned in previous videos that my given unit and compound is going to be duplicated diagonally. And so I'm going to have grams of H2O. Anytime I have mole over grams, my mole is always 1. And in order to find my number of grams for H2O, I have to find the molar mass. Now, when I find the molar mass, I'm going to separate H and O. I have 2 H's, 1 O. I'm going to find the atomic mass on the periodic table. For hydrogen, it is 1, and for oxygen, it is 16. So 16 plus 2, once I add that up, that's going to give me 18. That is going to be my grams of H2O. When I do the math, I am going to divide 25 by 18, and that gives me 1.388, but I'm going to round it up to 1.39, okay? So that is my mole of H2O. Actually, let me set this up. H2O. All right? Oops, I hope you can see that, of H2O. Okay, and so next I want to do my second given, which is 25 grams of C2H5OH. So I'm going to set that up. I got my mole of C2H5OH because that's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to duplicate my grams diagonally because I want to be able to cancel those units out. When I have mole over gram, my mole is always 1. And in order to find my grams of C2H5OH, I have to find the molar mass. So I'm going to separate each of my elements. I see that I have 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens, and 1 oxygen. Now, please don't get tricked. I know that the subscript next to hydrogen is 5, which is true. However, there's an additional hydrogen here, so you have to add that in order to get 6. All right, my atomic mass for carbon is 12. For hydrogen is 1, and for oxygen is 16. When I multiply, I get 24, 6 is 16, and then I'm going to add those numbers up. So 24 plus 6 plus 16 is going to give us 46. So I'm going to put 46 here, and then I'm going to do the math. So 25 divided by 46 is going to give me 0.54, and I only did 2 places after the decimal, so that is going to be my mole of C2H5OH. Okay? Next, this is the very important part. What you're going to do in order to get your mole fraction. Now, here's the thing. Actually, let me put this up at the top. So, your formula for your mole fraction, here's your formula, equals mole of compound over your mole of solution. This is the formula that you're going to plug in, okay, in order to get your mole fraction. Now, In order to get your mole of your solution, I am going to bring it down here when it comes to H2O. So here is H2O, okay? So for H2O, we have 1.39 mole of H2O. In order to get my mole of my solution, I am going to have to add the mole of H2O and the mole of C2H5OH. So I'm going to have to add the 1.39 mole of H2O and add it to the 0.54 mole of C2H5OH. When I add that together, 1.39 plus the 0.54, I get 1.93. Okay, this is your mole of solution. This is going to go in your denominator. All right, so I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to go ahead and plug in that 1.93 for H2O, and then I'm going to divide 1.39 divided by 1.93 gave me 0.72, and that is my answer for H2O. Now I have to do it for C2H5OH. So I got 0.54. That is my mole of the compound, and I'm going to divide it by that 1.93, okay? That is when I added the 1.39 plus the 0.54. Once I divide those two numbers, 0.54 divided by 1.93, you get 0.27, and that is your answer, your mole fraction for C2H5OH. And that is how you do this. Now, I know that seems like a lot. It's honestly not a lot. I just went into details so that you'll be able to follow as a step-by-step tutorial video. Don't feel overwhelmed. I know that this is easy peasy, okay? Now, let's do one. I hope this video helped. Even with the one example, you're going to pretty much repeat the same steps in order to be able to find the mole fraction. That goes for all of them. All you have to do is pay attention to what the question is asking you. So in the example that we did for example 1, it asks you to find the mole fraction of each substance. The questions may ask you to find the mole fraction of one of the compounds. And when you do that, you'll have what it is that you're looking for. So I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not